helps if my wireless mic is on, doesn't it? Okay, just gonna do a little bit of cleaning up. And I also wanted to test my wireless mic. I also need to mute that. Just doing another quick test while cleaning up. You know, I got these gloves and they fit my girlfriend better than they fit me. Should probably go and put them on her workboard instead of mine. And yes, we do keep separate pegboards. You know, it's not a sexist thing, it's just I have my tools, she has hers. You know, that's the thing. I always encourage her to, you know, go and fiddle around with stuff. It's not like my lab is off limits to her. In fact, I try to make my lab as inviting to friends and whatnot as often as I can. I know it's relatively cluttered in here most of the time, but it's controlled chaos. Most of it is just, you know, whenever I'm doing something, I have a tendency of kind of making a mess, and then I can just consolidate all of that into one project box and then come back at it later. So a lot of the boxes that I have behind me, although they look like they've just been thrown around piles of crap, they are in fact, you know, that they actually have stuff in them. Like, you know, one box could be like embedded ARM devices, another box could be, you know, x86 thin clients, etc., etc. You know, and it's kind of cool because the girlfriend knows that if she sees something that, you know, has wires and bits and whatnot hanging out of it, that you know, she shouldn't fiddle around with that. She's very careful not to touch things and just willy-nilly unplug things and not giving a crap. She's very respectful towards all of my shit. And that's very rare to find. Oftentimes, people, I'm hearing guys complain that their significant others constantly complaining about the mess on the table, but no, I've got a significant father that allows me to retreat into my lab and do whatever the fuck I want. In fact, she encourages it because she understands wholeheartedly that this is my studio. It's not like, you know, an artist has a studio, an engineer has a lab. Alright, this is where I do all my experimenting. So when I tell people, yeah, I have a lab, they're like, you have a lab? You know, they're thinking test tubes and beakers and all that. I'm like, no, it's an electronics computer room. It's, you know, it's where I do all of my experiments so I don't make a mess all over the rest of the house. But needless to say, I still make a mess all over the rest of the house. I mean, I can easily occupy 4 rooms. But being an apartment dweller, you learn how to conserve space as best you can. And as you notice, go vertical as you can. In fact, just recently, I don't know if you can see in the background, that little blue LED up there is a thin client that's running a dual SDR. It's one of them is an RTL, oh, what the hell was it? RT280 or something like that, or 280T or 280U or something like that. And the second one I have in there is an original Elonix E4000 tuner. And I have a disc cone coming up soon. It's sitting in my living room. I'm just waiting for good weather to bring it up onto the roof. I'll be doing a video about that as well. And that's currently running RTLSDR, so I'm able to log into that remotely, and hopefully a forward-facing project will be that I'll allow people access into that, and maybe we can make a project where we can create like a sort of echo link, but for SDRs. That way people that don't have SDRs, software-defined radios, and just kind of want to fiddle around with them can get an idea of what they're gonna, you know, pick up. Plus, it's also cool to hear what you can pick up in other places, because I got buddies in other states that have SDRs that I don't have access to, things like the automated train control system, ACTS, and they don't have access to digital mobile radio of any sorts. And they've been wanting to play with DMR, and I've been wanting to play with receiving ACTS, and I think it's a good way of using the internet in a means to sort of bridge the digital divide with our physical location. Granted, we're going to have to deal with some pretty crazy latency, but I think once we get most of the configuration set up, it should work quite nicely. But, we're just going to have to keep running all of our experiments, continue testing on what we're testing, and see what works and what fails. Right now, when it comes to the SDR stuff, bandwidth and latency is absolutely critical. And if you wind up shifting around the frequencies too much and too often too fast, you can... Well, with this guy, one of my SDRs just... I don't want to say it's locking up, but I suddenly can't access the SDR. It just says that the USB device has been left open, and I can't figure out how to close the damn thing. I don't know what's up. So that's one thing I need to figure out. The second thing I need to figure out is there are a couple of other applications that can be used besides just straight RTL TCPs. So there's a web front end for the WebSDR project that I'd like to run. So that's another solution. Plus I've got Wi-Fi in that little bugger, and you can do all the fun Wi-Fi shenanigans on him too. So, plus I had an idea of running an asterisk box that would allow Project MF, which emulates the era of blue boxing, and I want to preserve some of the classic phone freaking stuff that I never got a chance to really enjoy blue boxing. I was sort of right after that era, and Project MF will allow you to bring blue boxing and the old, in-band signaling and phone freaking back to life just to preserve the history. But another cool thing about it is I had this really amazing idea of just creating some voicemail boxes, and it's like a pick-your-own adventure, but in a voicemail system. So I also wanted to do a segment on how to decode an introduction to coding stuff, and I figured DTMF would be the easiest start, and I figured, this could be a segue of, if you want to get into this asterisk box, I'll give you the phone number, but you need to know the password. In order to know the password, you got to figure it out by decoding the DTMF in the end of the segment, which is teaching you how to decode DTMF. And then in there, you can start basically scrolling around inside this voicemail system that gives you clues on how to further explore it. And some of my ideas are so zany as far as using ham radio encoding methods, or slow scan TV or Hellschreiber in order to send things like QR codes that can be scanned to external links. Got a whole bunch of, trust me, steganography has been involved. Physically printing out, being able to gain access, get into the asterisk server, gain information that there is a file server. On the file server there is a PNG file. Print out the PNG file. Turns out it's a foldable origami something or other, and once you fold it, there's an IP address or a password or another key to get you further down the rabbit hole. Alright, I think I'm getting myself a little too distracted. That's just one of the zillion ideas I come up with on a regular basis that I'd like to see happen, but can't make any of this happen without the support from people like you. So if these are things you'd like to see, please give me a thumbs up and let me know what your ideas and your opinions on these thoughts are, because I'm just blurbing right now. So I'm gonna go and whip out the old phone and boop the doot button.